In the 1970s, the now defunct Kampala City Council bought land in Bukasa, Wakiso district near Kampala to be used as burial grounds for unclaimed bodies from the city. But of the initial 50 acres of land purchased then, only 6 acres are now left for the city authority. The rest have been fraudulently sold off to private people. The commission also heard that Wakiso District Land Board has been illegally issuing titles to public land.
Yeah, would it be incorrect for the commission to get the impression that there was a conspiracy of sorts between people in KCCA and the District Land Board for this land to be parceled out? Because we do not see any documented effort by KCCA to assert its rights.
My Lord, honestly speaking, I cannot say so because I do not have anything.
It is said part of the cemetery land was illegally leased off to a construction firm, Saini Brothers, in 2009 to set up a warehouse. Another part of the land was given out to the Muslim Tabligh community. The commission, chaired by Court of Appeal Justice Bwambale, also heard that Kampala Capital City Authority failed in its mandate to preserve its land and instead allowed Wakiso Land Board to give titles to public land.
This is a discovery process that every day you come across new information which will enrich your next course of action for purposes of performing your mandate.
The Bukasa land is not the only cemetery land that has been illegally given to undeserving persons.
Between the Church of Uganda in Ntinda and the primary school, do you know there was a cemetery there of KCCA?
I have heard about it, my Lord.
Yeah, is it still there? What have you heard about it?
My Lord, I have previously heard about this cemetery, but not detail of its history.
While appearing before the Commission, KCCA Acting Director for Planning, Bwambale, and the authority's Acting Land Manager, Dickson Akena, found difficult explaining why they watched on as the land was illegally parceled out to private developers.
My Lord, first of all, we have to admit that there has been very scanty information regarding this particular cemetery here, and that's why there are so many issues of encroachment. Nobody knows the exact acreage, but as KCCA, we are very committed to securing public land that falls under our purview.
The officials also put to task about the current state and ownership of other public cemeteries in the city.
You are aware that there are other cemeteries in Kampala under KCCA, and you haven't mentioned them.
My Lord, it's possible.
The impression we are getting, or I am getting at least,
yes,
is that if the commission had not raised this issue would have taken another 10 years and nobody would have been bothered with the fate of Bukasa cemetery.
My Lord, I do not want to say so, but this is an eye-opener.
In 2007, there were reports that the then Kampala City Council would lease out the European Cemetery on Ginger Road opposite the Ministry of Internal Affairs headquarters for the construction of a shopping mall. There was a public uproar. Nothing became of that plan. KCCA recently put up a perimeter wall around the cemetery.
We want you to therefore come back and show us exactly what used to be the situation and what is the prevailing situation on your Bukasa cemetery. We want you to also give us a history of this cemetery, you as the former owners or rather purported owners of the cemetery.
During the interface, the Commission was forced to send away some witnesses due to ill preparedness on the part of the witnesses who did not have adequate information on the dockets they held.
And I was hearing all this for the first.
You are addressing the Commission, Mr. Secretary of the District Land Board. You should know this very well. When you are addressing your board, you address the chair. You don't address the lead counsel, you don't address the senior lead counsel, you address the chair, okay? So all the questions are being made to this commission, okay? So when we're asking you questions, bear in mind that you're answering this commission. And I think as a secretary of a very serious land board, you should know that.
Thank you, Mayor.
And so when any commissioner here asks you a question, remember you're answering to the commission. Answer them with a seriousness that needs to be given to that question. You've not come here to waste our time or you to play around.
This included the Chair Municipality Town Clerk and Wakiso District Land Board Secretary Stephen Mwasanje. This is likely to affect the timeliness of the Commission that is supposed to submit its report in 6 months. But some of the witnesses claimed that they had been called on short notice. The Commission also heard that Wakiso District Land Board has been illegally issuing titles to public land. This week, the Commission is expected to conduct hearings into the controversial giveaway of wetlands and forest land. Shirandu Uchere, NTV.